Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video. So it's been a really long time since I posted anything. I haven't really had the time to do any kind of updates on the car. I have worked on it, but I just haven't had time to do any of the filming because obviously there's a ton of work that goes into that. But what I figured I'd do is give you an 18-month ownership update just to let you know the things that I've worked on the car, how it's running. I mean, it's running great, so I figured I'd talk about that a little bit and just, talk about the things that I've worked on. If you aren't familiar with the car, or if you are new to the channel, be sure to click the link up here. And this video actually talks about all of the issues that I found with the car when I first got it. Again, there was nothing real major with it that was wrong. Basically, it was all cosmetic stuff. A couple mechanical things here and there that I've worked on and fixed over the past couple months, so it's running really good right now. I just figured I'd give you guys a quick update of 18 months of ownership on it. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll just talk about the exterior stuff, go over that, then we'll jump into the interior of the car, and then we'll finally talk about all the mechanical things that I've worked on. Again, it's not a whole lot on the mechanical side, but we'll go ahead and talk about all that. So the biggest thing that I've changed on the exterior of the car is the front grille. So if you watch the other video, if you're familiar with the car, you know that the car came with a, what I call a quote unquote black optics grille. And essentially what happened was one of the previous owners had spray painted the aluminum trim. So we'll go here, get this right here. They spray painted the aluminum trim, all this stuff, with like some kind of black paint, and it was chipping off and it looked really terrible. So what I did was I went ahead and ordered a factory OEM replacement grille. Obviously with the aluminum trim, I think that looks a lot better on the Magello blue. So that's what I went with for the front grille. So that's all brand new, looks great, really happy with it. Moving on to the sides, I know that I had mentioned the aluminum trim up here was a little chewed up. You can see that I've actually replaced all of this. So this is all new going up through here. Replaced all that, looks great now. Also replaced this little trim piece here because this little flat piece was like broken off on the one that came on the car. So I will say that that was kind of a pain of a job to do. You essentially have to take this entire door frame off, or window frame I should say, take the interior door panel off, and it's not fun, but we did it. One of the other things I had not mentioned in the previous video was this door handle. So in the previous video, when you would tap on it like this, this door handle cover was like really loose, so it rattled like crazy. So while I had the door completely apart, I decided to just fix this. So you can see it doesn't make any noises now. It's real solid. That's how it basically came from the factory. One of the other things you'll notice that's different on the car from the previous video is the mirrors. Essentially the car, when I bought it, had what looked to be S4 mirrors on it. I have no idea why. It just boggles my mind, no idea why I had them on there. But I went ahead and sourced some OEM RS4 mirrors. Very hard to find and very expensive. But we did go ahead and replace those, so it looks great now. This is basically what they look like from the factory, so I'm really happy with that. Moving around to the back of the car, I had mentioned that the, diffuser grill had been missing from the car when I purchased it, so I did source one of those, and you'll see that it's got like that honeycomb look to it, so that's been replaced. Looks much better than it did when I got the car. So yeah, I think that covers everything that I've done on the exterior of the car. There's not a whole lot. It's a bunch of little things. The problem is that the parts are really hard to find and they're very expensive. So it's taken quite a while to get all these things in, but from the outside, the car basically looks like it did when it came from the factory, aside from the wheels, which I would like to get repainted. They kind of have like that gunmetal gray, and I'd actually like to have them in the factory silver. A lot of people kind of hate on me for that, but I think it looks better with the darker paint. What do you guys think? Drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the color of the wheels. So just so you get a better look at the wheels, here they are. You can see they're the gunmetal gray. OEM is more of a silver, kind of like the mirror color. I just think that the silver would pop a little bit better against that darker paint. Moving to the interior of the car, I've actually changed quite a bit in here. So it looks much cleaner now. All right, so first thing to look at here is I've replaced all of these buttons up here on the top. So you'll notice that they have this little chrome trim on them. They look great. There's no more, touch-up paint on them. So, I've replaced all those. It looks really good. The head unit itself has been replaced. Again, no chips of paint or anything like that. Also replaced the HVAC unit, which was missing these buttons here. I guess from when I got the car, they were just chipped off, so replaced all of that. Brand new shift knob. So this is Black Forest Industries. It's in, I can't remember the color of it, but it's some kind of, it might be Porsche Maritime Blue, something like that. Kind of goes with the theme of the outside of the car with the dark blue, so I thought that looked really nice. We also fixed the glove box, the infamous glove box. It does fall down a little bit because I actually had to drill out the piston to allow it to close correctly. So now it closes correctly, it's all fixed, works really well. You also notice we have some nice floor mats. They are custom floor mats with the RS4 logo, and then I actually had blue stitching ran across the edge of it, so it looks really good. Went ahead and replaced those as well. One of the other things I had mentioned in the previous video was all of this lighting was like that weird, ugly red color. So we went ahead and switched those out to the cool white. Really brightens things up, makes it look a lot more modern. Really happy with how those turned out. Pretty easy install, so we changed those out. Another thing that really got on my nerves, you probably won't be able to see it on the video, was there was a lot of scratch marks and stuff like that in the gauge cluster. Basically the plastic that's in there was all scuffed up over 15 years of cleaning it up. You can see a lot of swirl marks and stuff like that. So what I did was I took some Meguiar's Plastics, I think is what it's called, and we polished that up real nice. It looks much better now. You don't see any kind of swirl marks or any kind of scratches. And then finally, one of the other things I had mentioned in the video was these door panels. I don't even know, I guess they're called kick panels, something like that. For some reason this car, it was missing when I got it. So we went ahead and replaced it with OEM RS4 logos. It looks great. Again, this was another part that was very expensive and really hard to find, but I was able to source one. Again, it's not perfect, but it's much better than not having one there. So we went ahead and replaced that, and it looks great. So yeah, that's all the work that I've done on the interior of the car. I think the last remaining issue that I need to take care of, which was one of the things I had mentioned before that really drove me crazy, was the headliner. I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not, but it is still sagging in the back. Again, that's a common issue with these cars. For some reason, I don't know why. Again, it's 15 years old, so maybe that's why. But I am going to get that fixed at some point. But other than that, the interior, you know, it looks really good. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I can't think of anything else that I would need to change in here, except for the logo on, let me show you this. So this is the logo on the steering wheel. That's rubbed off. Again, this is typically black around here with just a little red. I guess it's a rhombus, right? So that's usually all black with the red on there. So I need to figure out where to source one of those. I think I actually saw one on eBay coming from Latvia or something like that, but that little emblem is like $50. So like I said, parts for the RS4 are very expensive. So we'll see if we can find one of those and maybe get that replaced. Okay, and lastly, we'll go ahead and talk about the mechanical stuff that I've taken care of. I'm just gonna pop the hood here. We'll talk about that. Very hot in here. So, from the last video that I posted, I guess it was back when I first got the car, talking about issues with it, we have replaced the coolant reservoir. So, those typically, you know, fade out, they get real ugly and yellow, and sometimes they crack and actually leak coolant. So we went ahead and replaced that. The bracket that holds this upper carbon fiber piece was actually missing when I got the car, so I did order that. Again, that's another part that I had to find from Latvia. So we had that shipped in. Took, I think it was like 2 months for it to get here. But this piece is now, you know, solidly on the engine. So we went ahead and replaced all that. In the engine bay itself, not a whole lot going on here. Again, a lot of the stuff was taken care of before I got the car, so it's in pretty good shape. And then the other mechanical things that I've done on the car were essentially, I replaced the downpipes, and I actually posted a video on that. You know, when I did that project, it was not a fun project, but I went ahead and replaced the downpipes because the factory catalytic converters had worn out over 15 years, so we went ahead and replaced those. At the time, I also replaced all of the O2 sensors on the car. So one of the things I had noticed, you know, after I got it was it had a really strong exhaust smell. You know, when I was driving it around, it just felt like it was running rich, smelled like it was running rich. So I went ahead and replaced all the O2 sensors, the upstreams and the downstreams. Seems to be running much better now. And you can see that the exhaust tips, they used to get real sooted up before I replaced all that, but they're staying pretty clean. Again, I have wiped these off recently, but they just don't really get caked up with the soot like they used to. So, you know, the car feels like it's running great. I don't have that crazy exhaust smell anymore. Again, I do smell it a little bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. So there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to click the like button. It really helps me out. Also, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I'm hoping to post a couple new videos about the RS4 here going forward. Again, there's not a whole lot of these cars out there anymore. If it's something you're interested in, be sure to click that little bell notification icon so you get notified whenever I post new videos about this car. Again, thanks for watching. I'll bring back the little tagline from the old channel. Don't forget to reflect and never settle. Light it up, light it up.